What is qualified wages for the employee retention credit? My personal opinion, which means nothing, is back last year when the ERC-1 came out, the IRS did some frequently asked questions and they thought all the answers were there. What happens is December 27th, when the law changed and we got ERC-2, there was a glitch between two code sections. That's way over what I want to talk about today, but we're in the trenches, we're in the real world. We're trying to either file a 7200 and put the right wages on it that are qualified to get an advance credit back on this refundable credit, or when we go to do the quarterly reports. Now, last year, a lot of people in 2020, they did the PPP. And until December 27th of 2020, you either did a PPP or you did an ERC. So in one way, that made life simple. But on December 27th, they said, no, wait a minute, we're going to go all the way back from the beginning of the CARES Act, and you're going to be able to qualify for ERC, Employee Retention Credit, and also the payroll Paycheck Protection Program. And I think the important thing there is the good news comes with complexity. I've done another video of the top 10 issues, but this is an issue that deserves its own video because it is a real pain point on getting the right number on the 7200 for the advanced credit that then is reconciled on the 941 quarterly report, or when you go to do the 941 either for 2021, where we can get up to $7,000 credit on $10,000 of qualified wages for first quarter. We can get $7,000 credit on second quarter for qualified wages of $10,000. It's a 70% credit. For last year in 2020, because of the law change, and all of us who got PPP now can go back and see if we qualify for ERC. And most of the time, there is some time periods that you can get this. So why is this qualified wage, or another way to ask it, which employees can I count in order to get this credit? And we start throwing around that you're paying somebody $40,000 a year and you can get $14,000 in credit per employee for 2021. That is big money, and we want it when it's ours, and that's, again, you can file a 7200 after each payroll. Now, I did a different video on the 7200, but the focus here is what is a qualified wage. First thing is, I'm going to give you the best guidance I can give you. When the IRS ever decides to come out with guidance, not only myself, but many other professionals are pushing them to come out with the guidance. And maybe we need to be patient, but how do we do that and try to get the right amount, how to comply today as a small business or a small farmer? So let's look at this. What is qualified wages? Well, first thing is we don't have to worry about it's an employee working for the company. It sounds simple, except for related parties. What I'm going to look at, and actually this is out of IRS Frequently Asked Question 59, that's going to be the base for this presentation. And when we get done, this is the guidance, except for I can show you somewhere else in the code that they refer to that it's not the same definition. But here's what we're going to hang our hat on today. If in doubt, if you want to wait for the authority, you want to wait for the guidance to either do an amended 2020 ERC payroll tax, you do it on the quarterly 941, but to amend one of those quarters or to get it on the first or second quarter. And I'm sure by the time we get to the end of the first quarter of 2021, we'll have some kind of guidance. But I want to read ineligible employees. So it's kind of like, this is how tax law works a lot. It doesn't tell you what does qualify, but it tells you what it doesn't qualify. So here's the list. I'll go through it, and you can always look at it. IRS Frequently Asked Question number 59. It says a child or a brother or a sister or a stepbrother or a stepsister, a father or mother or ancestor of either, a stepfather or a stepmother, a niece or nephew, an aunt or an uncle, a son-in-law, daughter-in-law, father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, so on. So as you can tell, I always call it, it's actually part of a code section that I refer to as 267C, but it's anybody in your nucleus. It's, it's where you came from. It's like a tree. This is where I'm coming from. Here's me. Here's my children. Here's my brothers and sisters. Here's all my relatives. And those are the ones that do not qualify. And so then when I go on to look, they call it ineligible relationships. Also, we have to watch common ownership of multi-companies. For example, I'm a partner in a CPA firm, but I also run a farm that I have Angus cattle on. Well, what happens is that those are related companies. So I can't go over here and get it and then come over here and get it again. So that's part of what this is about. And we've got to worry about corporations, partnerships, LLCs. So my point here is, before you just go and say, here's my wage report, I'm going to put it on the 7,200, and I'm going to list out all the employees. And because remember, the ERC is employee by employee. So I put them all out here on a little spreadsheet or look at my payroll report. I've got to first go down. So I'm a qualified employer because of, we've talked about before. But then I'm looking here is what's a qualified employee. And I'm going to have to go and look. Wait a minute. That's my son. It doesn't qualify. That's my niece. Doesn't qualify. So what I'm saying to you is, and again, we can look at that list real quick again, but if it's related party, and here's the issue, related party in what the IRS says in a frequently asked question about ERC is not the same definition under Code Section 267. And don't worry about code sections, but we've got to have clarifications. And as soon as I know, I'm going to communicate with you. But for right now, remember, if you're filing on the 7,200, that you can file, it's an advance credit of the refundable up to $7,000 per employee on qualified $10,000 in wages. And I'm getting a lot of calls where people are just putting down their payroll. Please don't do that, because that's incorrect. So then what happens is you take your 7,200, you can again do it every pay period. I've got a video on that. Then what you do is when you get to the 941, it's then going to reconcile all those 7,200s and put it on that quarterly payroll. But each time you file the 7,200, when you have a refundable credit, or you may wait and do it one time on the 941 and not file a 7,200, then you'll get all that refundable credit at the time you do your quarterly report. Either way, the definition of qualified employee is so critical. I know I've taken a few minutes on this, but I can't state it enough. This is a big number, and you don't want to have 4 or 5 employees and 2 of them are not qualified, and then you're getting this over the next 2 quarters, you're getting up to $14,000 on back. 2 employees, that's $28,000, and they're not qualified. So this is really a really critical issue. So again, it was one of our top 10 things you need to know about, but this one deserved a little special treatment. Share this, like this, stay tuned, and as soon as we get some guidance, I'll do a video on this. I really hope this helps, and thank you. See you next time.